You're listening to the Late Night Football Show with your host, Rohit Singh. That's me. On this show, we talk about some of the most seriously silly topics from the world of football for your entertainment and enjoyment. Please remember that the show is BYOL. Bring your own laughs, since we don't have the budget for a studio audience. Happy listening. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Late Night Football.
Hi.
And
Hi,
I'm
hi,
the only one smiling for obvious reasons. But I am wearing black today, and I'm wearing black today not for City. I think they'll be back, but I'm wearing black today because I think, based on this performance, the Premier League title race might not be. There might not be a title race today, but we'll see. Interestingly enough, the top two teams at the moment is Leicester and Everton, 9 points each. Think about that for a second. Liverpool will probably may catch up to them if they beat Arsenal tomorrow, but we'll see that. But we're going to focus today on Manchester City against Leicester City. It's finished 5-2, and we've got two Manchester City fans here with us today to analyze that match. Adarsh Nim, welcome back to the show.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you normally say it's a pleasure to be here, but I know probably it's not a pleasure to be here today. And then first time on this show, welcome Wikki Koul. Wikki, nice to have you on the show.
Hi, Rohit. Hi.
Yes. So understandably, it's a somber episode, and we were here last weekend as well. We were talking about the Manchester United Crystal Palace game, and it's always difficult to talk about games. But let's take a step back. Let's start from the start. Adarsh, when you saw that team sheet, now I know City fans, City have a few injuries, but when you saw that team sheet, did you think that was the team that could get the job done?
Yeah, I was thinking that the job could be done, but I was also thinking that we could face some problems with the clinical finishes because we were lacking that proper number 9 in the playing 11. There was no Jesus, there was not Aguero, there was Delap was also on the bench. So Sterling being our number 9 is something always a big question mark in front of all of us. So yeah, eventually, we scored couple of goals, but it was not enough. Leicester scored 5, and we only managed to score 2, so it was not enough. Overall, a very bad day at the office for City, and a good time for Pep to just look in the mirror and make some positive changes.
Wikki, when you do you think in terms of, they had to play with a false 9 because they didn't have a striker. Do you think he made the right choice of Sterling being the false 9? Do you think he should have had De Bruyne or Foden playing that role instead?
I think Sterling was the right choice. I thought he has done this in the past also. When we didn't have strikers, both the strikers, then Sterling used to play the false 9. I think the team selection was good enough, but then the defense issues we had last year also, they came up again, and we conceded 3 penalties, and what more can I say?
Yeah.
And by 3 different players in the back. So
Well,
I think it was.
Yeah. No, we'll talk about the goals and then all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start on a positive note because it did start well for City. First goal, Wikki, great strike from Mahrez, wasn't it? The first goal from Mahrez.
Actually, I missed the first 10 minutes of the game. I saw that in the highlights. Yeah, it was a very good strike. Took it on his wrong foot, on the right foot, and it was a good strike.
Yeah,
and I thought City would just win this match easily. And City were dominant in the first half. I thought we will make it. There was a small mistake by Walker, but we did good in the first half. But then second half was totally the opposite thing.
Yeah.
It was so flat.
For sure. Adarsh, what did you make of that first goal? Once you saw that first goal going in, Wikki said he was confident of a win. What was your feeling?
That first goal was actually one of the best goals Mahrez has scored for City. One of the best, because jumping in the air, he shot that in mid-air volley. So it was a very good goal against his own former club. So it was a very good moment for him as well as for everyone. And we were actually very confident in the first half. And because we were dominating, as Wikki told, we were dominating the first half from the defense to the front line. We were creating chances and all. But in the second half, it all went downhill, just straight downhill. Leicester was the one who was dominating the game. They were the one who were converting chances, not City. So that is where it costed us the game, and
Mhm.
that is where we need to work on. We need to maintain that consistency for over like 45 minutes and all. It was just 45 minutes. We have to do it more than 45 minutes. We have to do it for full 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So that is where we have to work more.
Yeah, well, I noticed as I was watching that game is that for the first 30, 35 minutes, Leicester was sitting back. They were, in deep, had a low block. It was a good, City had all the possession, very good. I don't know what changed, but after that, I think they figured out that if they can get the ball over the top of the midfield, quick passing and over the top, or like quickly passing through the midfield, that would create more chances for them rather than trying to go side and trying to go toe to toe. And I think from that point on, they started dominating. So let's talk about the penalty, the first penalty, and let's see them. But let's talk about the first penalty, Adarsh. Uh, what was Walker thinking when he was pulling him back? Should he have pulled him? Should he have just let him go and try to get, or do you think he had to come back?
No, it's totally up to the defender at that moment because that player is Vardy. He is not like any other striker. He is Vardy. He has space. He has like shooting abilities. He has that positional like mindset. He is a very good overall striker. And like letting these kind of players go who can shoot from both the legs even like it's
Hmm.
a like 50-50 choice. It's up to the defender whether he wants to leave or not. You can't just blame him for like he has done a wrong thing because Walker is one of those
Yeah,
guys for
but
us who has been
yeah,
consistent throughout his career for us.
yeah, Walker is consistent, but he does these mistakes often. Like in the defense, he is good on the offensive, but he does these mistakes in the defense. Like today also, I thought it was a mistake, but he didn't. He was not watching Vardy. He was not
Mhm.
watching Vardy. He was watching the other
Just
guy,
watching
the winger.
Barnes. Barnes.
No, no, Barnes. What the Murphy? I don't know. But he was not watching Vardy, and when Vardy came in, and then just he turned and just tripped him,
Pushed him,
and
yeah.
it was a clear penalty. But yeah, I would say it was
And
a
that's why like
mistake.
nobody like appealed the ref or something. Nobody went to the
Yeah,
ref to appeal that. It was a clear
yeah.
penalty.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Second half, Vicky, we spoke about this at the reaction for the season review. We spoke about, others said this, we talked about lack of mentality. That when there's a bit of adversity, City sort of seem to doubt themselves and then crumble. Do you think that, I mean,
Yeah,
the second half performance, do you think that issue is still there for City?
yeah, that issue is still there. City as a team gets rattled when they just like get one or two goals on their side, and I think City were kind of flat in the second half. City, we did not create much. We were like we had some like long shots from Walker and De Bruyne, and no play was like up to the mark. Sterling was nowhere to be seen, I think, in the game. Foden, before he was substituted, I don't think he made much in the second half. Then Torres came, then Delap. I don't think City had a very good game. They were like very down in the second game, in the second half.
Yeah. To Vicky's point, actually, others, I do not remember, aside from the goal in the second half, I don't remember City creating any clear-cut chances. There might have been a header from Fernandinho that probably was saved by Schmeichel, but I
Yeah.
can't remember too many. Is that an
Yeah.
issue as well? I mean, I know they were missing a striker, but is that an issue as well? The lack of chances being created.
Yeah, like the lack of chances created were totally visible because like it was De Bruyne's charm which was not working today with us. So it was quite seen because he's the one who usually creates like 5 out of 10 chances for City. If City creates 10, he's the only guy who creates 50% of the chances for us. So that was totally visible. Like Kevin De Bruyne was not very much active in today's match. He was more playing like a forward line just behind Sterling. So he was not coming much deep as he usually does. So that was something different. Like we started with 4-2-3-1, and like uh, Kevin De Bruyne was just behind Sterling, behind number 9, behind false 9. But usually he stays back as a like 3-man midfield. So he's more of a Mazzella who just moves into channel and cross the ball. But today he was not at that role, and the struggle was actually seen from the City side as of creating lack of chances, especially in the second half. And Mahrez was just cutting in. He was trying to cut in as usual, and he was clipped. But Mahrez was the only guy who was lively in our front three or front four. And the same goes for Eke, who had a brilliant game. Like, not a brilliant game, but he had the best game from our city side apart
Yeah,
from ours.
Yeah. Well, he was
yeah.
doing.
Considering like we conceded penalties from the three of our defense. So I think Ake had a good game, better
Yeah,
than Walker and
both the fullbacks were really
Garcia and
bad today. Mendy and Walker, both of them gave away the penalty. So a very bad
yeah.
game for both of them.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Leicester, and I know it's a little bit of a downer, but let's talk about Leicester because they actually played pretty well. I think Jamie Vardy is an incredible player, and he's like he's been in the league what 4 years now, 5 years, and he's already got more than 100 goals. He's something, isn't he? Others, and he likes playing against Manchester City for whatever reason. He always seems to
he
score.
he is a Premier League legend, man. I don't know if anyone who doesn't carry him in that remarks, like he has to carry him in that remarks. He has that high regards. He has scored against every top side, every top team. He has scored in Champions League. He has scored in Europa League. He is scoring against the teams like Liverpool, City, United. He has a very good record against top six, like just below Aguero, as I remember. Aguero has the best record against top six, and he has the second best against top six. So, which is quite surprising. Like seeing the capability and the players surrounding Vardy, he is scoring these many goals, which takes a lot of efforts and dedication. Even at this age, he is like 31 or 32, or even more than that, and he's already in his peak or like past peak, and he is just scoring goals for fun. He was a golden boot last year, and he might be a golden boot. Like even if not, he will run down that chase. He will do that chase for him once again. He's a best, one of the best strikers in the Premier League ever.
He's already had 5 goals, so good chance that he might get it again. Mickey, let's talk about individual performances because I think that's some. I don't think Leicester played particularly well as a team. They did a few things very well. They were very good defensively. They were very organized. But I think once they got that weakness, once they found that weakness,
Mhm.
they could do. I think they just kept doing that. All I was seeing was them trying to pass through the midfield quickly, trying to pass over, trying to pass quickly. They knew they could get there. What do you think Pep could have done something different when knowing that the team has identified the weakness? Do you think he could have done something different to try to address that?
I think he tried to make changes early in the second half. He brought on Delep for Fernandinho. But I think it didn't work for us. I think we were lackluster in the midfield also, and Leicester were playing on the like on what they do like they were playing their counter game so well, and the second goal was such a beautiful goal. It looked like a City goal. The second goal, what a wonderful finish by Vardy, and then three penalties, like silly penalty, and another goal by
Man, three
Madison, which was
penalties in
also
a single match.
yeah, three penalties, right.
If
And
only
the
Bruno
Madison
was
goal,
Manchester
City's
United.
player, he would be like
huh?
just sitting on that crown. If only Bruno was a City player.
Yeah,
And Madison goal was
Oh,
also
sorry,
like,
Leicester City player. I mean,
yeah,
mm,
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Leicester City had become Manchester United for a second there.
yeah.
There. Adarsh, centre back pairing. Uh, I mean, probably Eric Garcia is probably on his way anyway. It would
Mhm.
seem. So he's probably not going to play again. But on that evidence, he probably wasn't going to play again. What do you
Yeah.
defensively? I think. I mean, yeah. I mean, was it the fault of the four defenders, or was it the fault of Rodri, who's supposed to be screening that back four?
Rodri was decent enough. Like I would not say he had a very bad game. He had a bad game because it was whole city, whole players. Every player had a bad patch in this game. So it was just Eric Garcia and Ake, just the partnership and the bond, which is still new. Eric is like still a raw player. Ake is
he's
just a
still
new
a
player.
teenager.
Yeah, so we still need that bonding between them, the Edison, the like front players, Rodri or even Fernandinho. We need that bonding. We need that communication as of now. And Eric had a very good first half. He was the best player for us in the first half. He was clearing every Barnes and Vardy thing and all. But in the second half, he was not able to control the tempo and the runs of every Leicester player. Barnes was running one way, and then came Medicine, and then even Vardy. Like everybody was like quite impossible for him to stop. Eke was doing good enough. Eke was even covering Mendy's forward run. He was covering the left back situation, the place. But it was all along Eric and Eke's miscommunication because it's a still raw partnership as of now.
Yeah, I think what we're getting here is that Leicester played really well as opposed to City
Yeah.
really badly. I mean, City did play, Manchester City did play badly. You can't concede 5 goals unless you play badly. But it looks like City had a game, Leicester had a game plan, and they came and they executed it perfectly. Mendy, what has happened to him? I mean, Vicky, he came to Manchester City as he was one of the best, probably one of the most enterprising players in that Monaco team. He came to Manchester City. He's had a few injury problems, but it just looks now like that's affected him, hasn't it? Maybe permanently, but it's definitely affecting him at this point, isn't it?
No, he doesn't. He did not have few injury problems. He had many. First of all,
he like played 15 games in like 2-3 years, like Premier League games. And we were just discussing this, Adarsh, me and Gaurav, this morning only we were talking about the new signings, and we were talking about how Mendy should like prove himself this year. He hasn't been able to yet, and he has been so injury prone for us, because then we'll have to look for another left back next season maybe. We played with Zinchenko one season, and we played some.
we won a domestic treble with Zinchenko, though.
Yeah.
Let me start on that. Yeah. I mean, it is. Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? But I mean, yeah, they probably will be on the lookout for left back next year, if not this year. Yeah, it's hard to talk about individual players at City, because City do play like a team. But I mean, all things considered, let's talk about this lack of people say that Pep Guardiola lacks a plan B. It's a little bit harsh because most teams don't have a plan B. To be perfectly honest, I don't think Jurgen Klopp has a plan B. I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't have a plan B for sure. But because I mean, and that's fair. He doesn't have players right now to even have a proper planning, so that's different. But does he need a plan B, or is it time for him to start thinking of a different plan A? Because it looks like teams have started to figure him out. If it wasn't clear last season, I think that teams are now starting to figure out what Guardiola is doing. Does he need a different plan A?
No, I don't think so. He's good at what he does, and City are good at what they do. I think the problems are in the defense only. We haven't been able to sort our defense out from the past 1.5 years now. Like 2 years now. After company
left, we are just facing problems in our defense.
And I think if the defense gets sorted out, I think City will be back on the track. I don't think we need much tinkering with the team.
Yeah. Well, speaking of sorting out, there is a signing that is on the way. We'll be doing a reaction video for that, by the way. So we're not going to talk too much, but there is a new defender coming. Quick thoughts, Adarsh. Ruben Dias. He's going to come straight in the team.
Yeah,
I don't think
we have really high hopes from like whosoever defender comes in our team. Like we had talks about Koulibaly, Dan Conde, and now Ruben Dias. And so finally he's coming. As per the good journalism, yeah, he is coming to City. He's having medical today or tomorrow. So let's see if thing goes fine. He is here, and we have really high hopes because he has been a commanding defender for Benfica. He even had like captain's armband for the last couple of games because of his leadership skills. He is a very good tackler. He has those leadership skills. He has that height. He can win headers. Plus, he is one of the best ball-playing defenders at the moment, whose like long-range accuracy is very, very good, similar to Laporte, what we have right now. And yeah, so we are very much have like very high hopes from him.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, for sure. Final thoughts on this game. Striker situation. Now, I don't know how long Gabriel Jesus is going to be out. I'm hearing 5 to 6 weeks, I believe, is the prognosis.
Yeah,
they are saying about 1 month. Yeah.
1 month.
Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks.
So,
yeah.
What do you do? I mean, I think both of Aguero and Jesus will probably come back at the same time. So you'll have a situation where you've got 2 strikers back. But for this next 1 month, do you think City need to look at an emergency striker, or do you think it's fine? You can manage.
No. It will be Delap, or it will be rotate. It will be under a rotation with Sterling, or even
Sterling,
Foden,
Foden, yeah.
or
Yeah.
even Kevin De Bruyne, because we have players who can play there. We have players who can play false nine.
Would
Plus,
you
we
want to
have
play a false
extra
nine?
players on the wings.
Yeah.
So false nine would
I
work.
don't think we'll
Plus,
go for a striker
yeah,
this
not at the
window. I
moment.
don't.
We're not needing any more striker at the moment.
Are
But
you happy with the false nine though? Are you happy with the false nine?
yeah,
Yeah, we have
absolutely.
played. Yeah, we have played with them in the past. I think.
Played with them in the past. It was like, we can say, like, it's just a bad day at the office. Just things did not work out for us, and it did for Leicester. Like, praise to them for that. They've done very good. They're converting chances very well.
Like they were saying, commentator was saying. I remember, like Vardy had like just 15 touches and he had 3 goals. Just
Yep.
Yeah,
15
That's
touches
good.
and he had 3 goals.
Yep, for sure.
that's how
Yeah.
good their chance conversion were, and that's how
Mm.
bad City's conversion chances were. So it's just bad day, I guess, because most of the time City scores these kind of goals in just the opposite way, vice versa. So it's just bad day. That's it.
Okay, so let's move on from City, and because there were a couple of other games, and I do want to talk about them a little bit. Let's about Tottenham versus Newcastle, and Newcastle is a team by the way. City are playing, I believe, Newcastle in the League Cup this week, so that'll be interesting. Handball, was it handball? Was it not a handball? Adarsh, what do you think? I know what you think, but
Uh,
viewers, what do you think? Was it handball? Was it not handball?
Yeah, it was not a handball eventually, but it was given in the very last minute, like 90, like 97 or 98th minute it was given. Just again, like last United games as well. So it's a very controversial thing, and VAR was again being questioned for the same thing. Uh, but I guess things will get better. It's just like they have made changes in Premier League this season, the VAR, and
Yeah.
we have a future with VAR in football. So yeah, it will get better.
Is it VAR or is it the handball rule? Vicky, do you understand the handball rule? Because I don't understand it anymore. I'm understanding now that it's not even intentional. As long as if it's just your hand is out.
Yeah, I think
I mean,
I think it was changed last year. That like even if it's intentional or not, it will be given a handball. And I think if they have changed it, so everybody will have to follow it after a time.
it just
And
yeah, it is weird though. I mean,
mm,
like you have to take into account, I guess, the speed because I saw the replay. I didn't see the game, but I saw the replay. He was pretty close. Dyer was pretty close to the
Yeah,
Newcastle player. So what is he going to do, right, when you jump?
I think at that moment it depends on the referee. I mean, if he sees that as a handball, he'll give that. Now they have screens also there. Now they can check
yeah,
there, and if he thinks it's a handball, he'll give that. It can go 50-50. Like maybe if he chooses not to give it, then won't be a penalty. But I think according to the rules, it should have been a penalty.
Okay, so you think it was a penalty? All right. Okay, that's interesting.
Intentional or unintentional, handball is handball.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes. Okay. So we've got Vicky who thinks it's a penalty. We've got others who thinks it's not a penalty. Interesting. Obviously, Mourinho probably definitely thought it was not a penalty. I'm sure.
I actually just saw in the replay. I didn't see the match live.
Oh,
But,
that's fine.
that,
I saw that in the replay too. We don't watch Tottenham. Nobody cares. Okay. Apologies to all Tottenham fans. The final thing I want to talk about is I think Shashwat predicted this in our previous show. I didn't think it would happen, but it happened. Leeds kept a clean sheet. 1-0 to Leeds kept a clean sheet. I mean that
they scored in the end, right? In the end,
they,
yeah.
they scored.
They,
They scored against Sheffield, but they kept a clean sheet. It was a 1-0 win to Leeds. So I think that's something I didn't think that was what happened, but it happened. A 1-0 win to Leeds. It's a strange day, isn't it, to cap it off? Others, what did you think of? Did you watch
yeah.
that?
Yeah, I watched the highlights, but not the full game. But what you can say is, like, they scored in the last 2 minutes, in the 88th minute,
Mm-hmm.
and Bamford scored for them. And that's not surprising though. And like, although the surprising thing is they kept a clean sheet,
Yeah.
as you say. That's the most surprising part, because in the last two games they were scoring some very high and goals scoring
4-3.
games.
The last two are 4-3.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. So it was a very, like, a confusion thing for a neutral like supporter, like seeing them like not scoring more goals and even keeping a clean sheet as well. So it was a surprise, but it was a nice game. A defeat to Sheffield at their home, which is a knockout punch for them because they have lost their like, first three games, all of
Yeah,
them.
it's
Surprised because of the
Sheffield.
last, like what kind of last season they had. So
Yeah,
it's a high time for them to open up their eyes now.
yeah, it's definitely not looking good for Sheffield. Vicky, do you think Leeds can make a push for top half of the table? Do you think they can finish 10th or higher?
Yeah, I totally think they can finish the top 10. I think the top 10, not the top 4, but
Yeah,
top 10, I think they can.
let's not get carried away.
And whatever we have seen of them, I think they're a very capable side. And I think they will lead goals also because of their gameplay, I think, and they won't change their gameplay. And it has worked for them in the championship. I think maybe here also it will work for them.
Yeah,
They're a good team.
yeah.
We have the next match with Leeds, right? City Leeds, next.
Most probably, yes, I
Yeah,
guess.
the next Premier League game, yeah. No,
Yeah, Leeds versus City.
Oh, that'll be an interesting one. Bielsa against Guardiola. That'd be really, really interesting. We'll have to watch that one for sure. But it's actually quite congested at the top right now because you've got the top six, technically the nominal, the big six, not the top six, but the big six. Then you've got Leicester, you've got Everton, and then you've got Wolves. So you've got 9 spots more or less. You've got, I think, probably the top 9 there, barring any major miracles. So it is getting quite congested. The 2 teams that I think we'll have to watch out for Sheffield and Burnley because I think they might be in some trouble. They'll have to hope that there are 3 teams worse than them, and there might be.
Yeah.
You've got Fulham, you've got West Ham. Not sure who the 3rd team might be, but we'll have to see.
Southampton. That's
Southampton,
where my bet is. Southampton. They are
Southampton as
actually
well.
a
Yeah,
very bad team at the moment.
yeah, maybe
Last season as well.
Yeah, you might think that 3 of the 5 teams that will be relegated will probably come from there, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe West Brom, but yeah, we've got West Brom as well. But it looks like they might be able to survive. Maybe we'll see. But then
Just after yesterday's match, maybe yeah.
yeah, it's tight. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But thank you so much, Adarsh. Thank you so much, Vicky. I am sorry to drag you on this very, very somber. I know it's like it feels like let's talk about a win, but sometimes well, I mean the thing is with you guys is that City aren't doing anything bad. When United lose, it's a bad. When you guys lose, it's just.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all fun and games.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining me on the show. I really appreciate it. I hope it was at least not traumatic for you. I don't want to say it was a pleasure, but I hope it was not traumatic for you.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, talking about it, it's always fine. So
so think of it as a therapy.
You're used to it now, right? You're used to it.
I think of it as therapy that I can vent out when my team loses. But I mean it doesn't happen often for City. So
but we have this tendency of self-imploding, like in the Champions League match also. We did that.
Yeah, that was. It's interesting, isn't it? With City, it's like you either get really big wins or you get really smashing defeats. I think they don't have that middle spot where they can
we don't lose like 1-0 or 2-1. Like, not our cup of tea. Either we win like from Liverpool 4-0 or we lose them 4-0. So it's like that way.
Not too many 2-1s or 1-0 wins either.
Yeah, we're not united now, so that's why. That's
I
where
think
the difference should come.
Last season also we had just 2 draws. We lost around 9-10 games.
Less draws.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think. Well, maybe you guys are like an upgraded version of Leeds, but much better than Leeds. An upgrade.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well, but anyway, thank you so much, guys. If you enjoyed our video, people, please remember to like and share the video. Your friends, family, anyone else you know. Also, if you're new, please remember to subscribe to the channel. We crossed 80 subscribers, as we said yesterday. We now want to get to 90. So let's see if we can get there over this weekend. Help us achieve that goal. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you again soon with the Ruben.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll probably see one of you guys again, maybe for the Ruben Diaz reaction video. Maybe that'll be much more fun, but we shall see what happens with that. So keep your eyes on that for the channel. Thanks so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to that episode of Late Night Football. We need your help to grow this channel, so if you've been enjoying the show thus far, please do like and subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends, family, colleagues, neighbors, drinking buddies, fellow football fans, and anybody else you know or don't know. We'd really appreciate it. Please also follow us on Twitter and Facebook via the links in the description below and spread the word about us. Take care.